Hi, welcome back to Engine Shop Joe. We just finished a pretty deep and intense series back to school, and I hope you all survived that. We almost didn't, but we have to move on, right? So we're going to lighten up a little bit on our video topics, and I wanted to do some things that kind of helps everybody. And I wanted to talk tonight about DEF tank temperature. Before we go there, I'm going to be probably offline for most of July, and I'm taking my little honey here and getting off the grid. So, but I'll be back and I'll try to get on now and then to answer questions. If I don't answer questions that you have, I'll answer them when I get back. So if I kind of disappear, that's the reason why. So anyway, let's get to it about DEF tank temperature. When you do a road test and then you get a data log, this is kind of what I look at all day long, and this is semi-sorted. It doesn't quite look like this when I get it, but then from here I can turn it into a graph. So when I talk about data logs and graphing, data logs are done in Excel. I should say they're saved as a CSV, and I look at them in Excel spreadsheets, and then you can graph in an Excel spreadsheet, and this is the graph. So here's the DEF tank heating valve issue, and the green line on the bottom represents all this period of time during this road test that they were doing. The DEF tank heating valve was completely closed. It never opened once. It'll tell you in the log, open, closed. It's only two states, opened or closed. So when it's closed, there's nothing to cause the DEF fluid to heat up. It will heat up from the sun shining on the tank. It's a dark tank out in the sun. It will heat up from the heat under the truck, heating the hoses, but it doesn't heat on a regular curve or stepped upwards basis, and that's what this one's doing. And so this log, if I would have continued it, I saw the DEF temperature as high as 120 degrees. And it's never supposed to really get much over ambient temperature if that's in the high 80s. So again, if it sits in the sun all day, it can get hotter. But 113, 114, no, never. So this valve is leaking. Well, what causes them to leak? I was told that it's not a problem with the valve, it's a problem with dirt in the cooling system that collects in the valve and stops it from closing properly. And so it just kind of leaks the hot coolant through all day long into that loop tube into the tank. And then you can overheat the fluid. The problem with overheating the DEF fluid, there's a couple problems. One is the ammonia will gas out of it if it gets too hot, so the DEF fluid becomes less effective at its job. It loses its ammonia concentration. The second problem is it will cause the sensors in the tank to fail. I've seen DEF quality sensors that were reading 30.5, 35.3. They're supposed to be 32.5. I think it's plus or minus 0.7. So to be off that much, yes, there were faults on DEF fluid quality. There was faults on DEF over temperature. Unfortunately, this is not something that you can monitor unless you are logging data and can read what the temperature is in the tank, or maybe you've got a scanner or a module or a tool in your truck that you can plug into the data port and look at those values. There's lots of different tooling out there. Is this something that you really need to be worried about? I'd say no, but I'd say that I see this on 1 out of 50 data logs that I look at when I'm looking for problems. And this particular data log that I got, it had nothing to do with the SCR system or DEF fluid. It was a low power problem they were fighting. But always when you get if you get into looking at these spreadsheets from the data logs, look at all the values. I look at blow by. Sometimes I'll see blow by at 15 and 18, and I'll go, hey, when's the last time you changed your crankcase filter? You're going to start having oil leaks and things like that, so you can spot a lot of potential problems. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you soon. While I'm offline, there'll still be videos being put up, so don't worry about that. They'll be there every week, on time, every time, and we'll see you soon on Engine Shop Joe.